Hi, my name's Carl Thornton from MDTA. This video that I'm posting today is looking at self-defense from the reality-based principle or the reality-based self-defense point of view. Many martial arts and self-defense systems out there are all in agreement of one thing. It's better to avoid a situation in the first place, to have the skills to know that we have the confidence in ourselves to be able to avoid a physical confrontation, to be able to identify a problem and avoid it in the first place, or if we have the opportunity, is to run and not be involved in a physical altercation where we need to use self-defense applications. The unfortunate part is in the majority of those type systems, is they'll tell you the best thing to do is run, and the best thing to do is avoid the confrontation in the first place, but they don't actually train you in the skills on how to identify a situation to be able to get out of it before it escalates into a physical encounter. So in this video, what I'm going to look at, or what we're going to look at, is what we call the 3 phases to self-defense, or the 3 key areas that you should be learning when we're talking about self-preservation and self-protection, or self-defense. The first phase is what we call situational awareness, is we should learn skills to make sure that we are situationally aware of what's going on around us. The more we improve our situational awareness skills, the more we are able to identify or assess a situation where there may be a possibility of a physical encounter, so we can avoid and make sure we don't put ourselves in those situations in the first place. Situational awareness skills do need to be developed. It's not just as simple as saying you need to be aware of what's going on around you. Situational awareness is about understanding body behaviours or body language and being able to read and determine a situation to try and assess as soon as possible and avoid getting involved in a confrontation. So that is what we call that first phase of self-defense, that a system should be focusing on teaching you how to be situationally aware. Not just saying it's a good idea to run or not get involved in the situation in the first place, but how do we develop skills and how do we train skills to be able to identify a possible situation so we can avoid it. The second phase that we look at in real self-defense is what we call conflict management pre-physical escalation. So in other words, what that means is dealing in conflict management where, let's say through that situational awareness, where you have assessed and identified a possible aggressive situation, but you haven't been able to avoid it, how do we still put ourselves in a place of using conflict management skills to de-escalate, negotiate, to try and avoid a physical confrontation? So this is that second phase that we call conflict management pre-physical escalation. Learning how to be assertive, learning the verbal and physical skills to be assertive, to control distance, and trying to deal with a possible aggressor to be able to try and negotiate and de-escalate a situation. So teaching people those skills of how we get into that situation of being able to assess the situation, how we control distance, how we use our verbal skills and our body language skills to de-escalate a situation and avoid a physical encounter. The third phase to real self-defense is what most systems focus on, which is conflict management, physical escalation. In other words, where there is a physical encounter, where we're dealing with something physically, applying self-defense skills physically to defend ourselves. Now, it is important to understand that we do need good physical skills and reality-based skills to defend ourselves, but we also need to understand that there is a high priority of understanding and being educated in the 3 phases of self-defense. If all you're going to do is learn the physical skills, then you can't be expected to identify a situation, de-escalate, negotiate a situation, and avoid a physical confrontation if you haven't been taught the skills on how to not only identify a possible situation, but utilise de-escalation and negotiation skills so it doesn't have to get into the physical encounter. So what I suggest you do is, if you're looking for a self-defense system, I'm not talking about a sport and I'm not talking about an art form, but if you're looking for real self-defense, is you should be finding a system that will train you in the environment, not just tell you, but train you in an environment in situational awareness, in conflict management, pre-physical escalation, as well as conflict management, physical escalation skills. So they're the three phases or the three key areas to learning proper self-preservation and self-protection.